G'day guys and welcome to the Centre Bounce for this our video where we will be talking about our final trades as well as talking about some of those great captaincy options. Stay tuned. Big J, we're here now entering round 3 if you don't mind. And it's crazy when we're talking about round 3, some juicy matchups, especially right off the bat on the Thursday night. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing very, very well. And yeah, as you say, crazy matchups. But I've just got to say, Joe, this round literally has to be the most important round in Supercoach almost. Like round 1, sure, you're fixing up a few rookies. But outside of the guys who have played in round 1 already, this round, we're actually jumping on the players with the lowest break evens, making sure that we're setting up our team from now on because there's going to be a lot of teams on $1 million plus extra dollars already after next week. And if you're not one of those people, if you don't fix your problems, if you do some weird things and end up having a lot of dead rookies on the bench, you're in a lot of trouble, mate.
Yeah, we've had a bit of carnage, and we've had a couple of weeks to really see some of these premiums if they're working out for us. We've had a look at our team structure, and I think many of us have used these early rounds and have probably also used the boost as well to try and restructure their teams, or 2 in our case. Yes, we're going full balls to the wall with the boosts. Rocket up to the moon, making all of these changes to fix up our starting structure. And I think this week is no different for you, right?
Yeah, definitely. I'm spending another boost that looks like potentially another one next week and then maybe even round 5 as well. I know we were talking about it earlier on in the day and saying cool, the first 15 rounds, we almost get 3 trades for 10 of those weeks, including the boosts, So it's not so scary to use them all. It just means, if you didn't have the perfect starting team like both of us didn't have, that you got to do the things you got to do. You don't want to be the person that, as I said at the start, has those dead rookies, misses out on jumping on those players. Cool, if I didn't use my boost, potentially I'm not getting Massimo this week. And I'm sorry, I'm getting Massimo in my team. So there you go. You just have to do it sometimes, I think.
Who else are you looking to bring in this week?
Well, if we pull up my this is what I'm doing for this week, guys. So we know how bad Hayden Young is, and with that monster break even, he's just got to go in the bin. Similar to Nick Martin, similar position. The problem with Nick Martin is that the top 6 defenders at the moment really seems like it's already starting to shape up as these are the guys you must have. And Nick Martin even scoring 100. We picked him as a 110, 115 average, right? There's so many good defenders that are already outbeating him in terms of that level of scoring that you just have to go and get those in. So Nick Martin's a waste of space at the moment. 490K I can put into someone else who's already going to jump up in price or, fix a lot of problems there. So for me this week, Hayden Young's gone from the back line. Nick Martin's gone. And then Gibkiss as well. So my trades, what I did last week, right? Got rid of a few dead rookies. Gibkiss was the last one I had to get rid of. Marty Hoare and Reed obviously aren't great either. But yeah, Gibkiss, last one I got to get rid of. Can't have 150K on the bench who will never have a chance to come back during the season. At least Zach Reed, in 5 or 6 weeks, maybe gets a shot again. So yeah, those 3 are in the bin. Bringing in 2 players who I know are going to make a lot of money. Massimo, what is that? 104 average already. Tom Powell in the forward line, playing midfield for North Melbourne. 112 average for a 300K player. It's not too bad. I'm not expecting him to go massive all the time, but even if he doesn't do that well from now on, what is he? Negative 47 break even. So he scores an 80, he's going to go up 50K. All we need for him to get to is 450K. Perfect trade. Offload him in a rookie premium. I'm happy. And then Luke Ryan in the back line, who's someone who I'm bringing in as well. Given all the injuries and whatnot that's happening in the back line, I just need to fill up those spaces, and putting a premium in there who I know is going to be able to score decently. It's just what you got to do, really. There was a bit of a toss-up between him and Dan Houston. I might change my mind at last minute and put Dan Houston in, depending on who comes in to the Freo backline in the team sheets. But yeah, definitely looking at Liam Ryan. And if you have a look at the moment, so this is my back line. If I don't have Ryan in there, I'm fielding one of Hoare or probably Reed, and Hoare was the sub, and Reed's injured. So I have to put another premium in there. I'm more than happy to do the trades. Let's do complete trades, and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. So the back line at the moment, 3 premiums, keeping them for a whole year. Massive cash cow. Zach Williams, Joe and I have talked a little bit about it. Hey, look, we think he's all right. Just I think I round's going to do well for him. And then House. So expecting him to get to 400K, maybe 450 if we're lucky. Similar-ish for a Zach Williams. And then House to probably 300 plus K. Rookie, 3 more premiums in the back line, and then it's finished. So very, very happy. And depending on what DPPs are looking like, we might be able to move a Roberts, a McKercher, these other players into the back line and potentially offload some of these early. So, yeah, it's not looking too bad. I've never, ever really been in the mindset in Supercoach of, hey, look, I've got to keep a lot of money in the bank. But this whole preseason and this season so far, I've had over 100K in the bank, Joe, and I like it. It almost accelerates the cash generation and, cool, I can get a rookie off the field before everyone else. Or, people have talked about on other programs about how important these 600K plus players are. If I can start to bring more of those in, that money from the bank goes down, but I'm not forced to bring in a 500K player. I can maybe grab a Sarong or someone else at that 620, 630, 640 mark and not feel too bad about it. So, yeah, what do you think of my trades?
Yeah, I definitely like it. I think, talking about those, I mean, Powell could be even a keeper in the forward line if he maintains that role. Obviously, it depends on the DPP, but Powell, I think you can't go wrong with him. 93% CBAs on the weekend that just went by is absolutely bonkers, and that's with Simpkin in the team as well, which is awesome. Massimo, almost a must-have, and the way the Hawks are playing with the ball, being very possessive in the back half, he's just going to rack up the ball a lot, and his disposal efficiency let him down a little bit early on in the piece. That 87 could have been even more, and so he's on track to really make us a lot of money. Hard to go past him. And of the premiums in the back line, I mean, Ryan is the one that's popping off the most. You could easily go for Dan Houston, as you mentioned, in case you feel like some big plans that you want to have for next week are a little bit tight for cash and you really want to cement what you want to do moving forward. Is Luke Ryan going to continue pumping out 120s like nobody's business? He might. Especially playing Adelaide this week. And Adelaide gave Tom Stewart everything he wanted and more. So you never know. You could be on to a winner with Luke Ryan this week.
Yeah. And one of the things we'll kind of go over my perceived plans for next week. Berry has to go from the team. Didn't score that well, obviously was the sub. All I need for him to do a 50, if you check out his break even, -3. So all I need is a 50. I'm very happy. Berry's out. Probably James Jordan, depending on how he goes this week. And then maybe it's Ollie Wines the time to go. So if those 3 players make their money for us, we could bring in a couple of premiums next week and start that kind of upgrading the team, which is what we want to start doing. So, yeah, that's kind of my plans. I guess that's for me. You've seen what my team is heading into the week. A lot of people getting off Jesse Hogan. I'm not doing that yet either. With potential rookie DPPs and stuff coming in, I'm just holding him. I think he can still pump out a bit of money. I think he's still got a decently break even of 34. So if he has another 100+ score, 500+ K. So very, very happy there. Joe, let's check out your team.
Sure thing. So we're on from the light side, now going to the dark side. You got the dark theme going here. The faces aren't on here, just so that we can sort of make sure that there's no jittering. So yes, my trades are, I've sort of already got them mapped out here for you. Hayden Young sort of flagged it in the team reaction, I suppose, review of how I did on the Sunday night. Hayden Young, look, you watch. We trade him out now, and then he just goes on an absolute tear and starts scoring 110+. And I'd say a big F you to you, Hayden Young, you son of a bitch. If you start going good and clean up all those clangers right after we trade you, it would be classic. Classic Supercoach if that happens. And now that I've said it, you watch it happen against Adelaide this week.
And Nick Martin as well, because I've just offloaded.
And Nick Martin. Well, Redmond's back this week, so who knows if that's going to do anything. But Hayden Young, I'm sorry, I'm sick and tired of waiting for you to come good. You showed us you showed us at the end of the season last year that you could do good, and now you're just teasing us. Your break even's going to go up. You're going to lose cash, and I'm not looking to lose out on value as well as valuable scoring on the field. If I want 60s, mate, Massimo D'Ambrosio can get those in his sleep. 60. So don't you worry about that. I reckon I'm going to get better scoring from Mass and the cash gen. Powell is in the team, and it's at the expense of Jai Clark. Now, this could be a little bit crazy considering that I sort of backed him in for an extra week compared to I didn't trade him out immediately after round one. He had a lot, I think, go his way. He has a decent role, and yet he still only scored a 60. And for me, I did want to get Powell in, and Powell was going to come into my side one way or another, either through Jai Clark or by trading out Sexton. Sexton, I've actually held on to Sexton, even though he's not playing this week. His break even is still in the negatives. It's still a -6 break even. And he's guaranteed to make money if he is named and isn't dropped. Now, I don't think he would get dropped because he wasn't subbed out of the game last week. He only had a positional change because Lukosius went forward. They moved Lukosius around, they activated their sub, and then Sexton was sort of displaced. But I don't think that's the way that they want to play. And I think they're going to continue to persist with him. If he has another stinker next week and he's unable to score really well, at least he'll make me his money coming off his negative break even, and I can then downgrade him to Sam Darcy, who will then be on the bubble. So Sexton can make me some money. If Sexton just scores, scores, he's not, no projection here because he's on the bye. But if I just scroll down a little bit, it will tell me how much if he scores a projected, where's the projected score? Oh, here it is. If he scores a 47, he'll go up 24K. Now, he had a pretty bad game and scored over 60. And that's due to the role that he plays. The role he plays, it's very hard for him to score under 60. So I do think that he's going to make me some money, even if he scores 47, then the following week a 56 and a 41. Like, he's still going up incrementally in cash. So I'm not in any rush to trade Sexton out based on that. Whereas Jai Clark, I don't know if Tanner Bruin's going to be back. I don't know what the sort of midfield mix is going to look like. Yes, they need to develop him, but he doesn't really pass the eye test too much. So Jai Clark, I'm not going to risk it with you. I know you haven't made me any money, but Jai Clark, you're gone. And I'm going to get Tom Powell, who could be a potential keeper. And this one was a really tough one for me to make. You guys would have seen in my previous video where I was reviewing the week and I was sort of hoping that Dawson can bounce back, and I had belief in him. I know he will bounce back. I have no doubt that Jordan Dawson will bounce back and score really well.
For a reason.
Exactly. Picked him for a reason because he's a gun player. Unfortunately, his ball use has been letting him down, and that Adelaide midfield mix is going to have some change. Now, another reason why I have decided to make the change from Dawson to Sarong, it frees up around 50K, almost 60,000 from 47, from how much is it? 47 to 21. No, sorry. So I free up about $26,000. And in doing so, I've got a player who's super hot, on fire, great role. And with Dawson, shout out to Bryce Mitchell. This guy's an absolute superstar. As you can see, he does a lot of forecast predictions when it comes to the prices. So if you haven't, follow Bryce Mitchell on Twitter. If he goes at a projected, if Jordan Dawson goes at a projected 110 every week, 110 is a good score, right?
Yeah.
He's going to drop all the way to 572,000.
Yep.
572. And his current price is 647.
From
647 to 572
were terrible.
Oh, they were very bad. And even if he goes at a great score of 110, he's still losing, dropping in about $75,000. That's way too much. So, Dawson, I'm sorry, mate. I know you'll come good. I might get you in later, but it almost seems like he's better off half back. And when he goes to half back, hopefully all of a sudden he'll start dominating, and then we can look to get him in. But as of now, it's time to go, son. I'm getting Caleb Sarong, who is in absolute ripping form. Now, do I expect him to go absolutely bananas this week against Carlton? Maybe, maybe not. They might put some George
No,
Hewitt
not
attention
Carlton.
into him.
It's not Carlton.
Sorry,
North's
Adelaide.
playing.
Sorry, there's got Adelaide this week, and there's got Carlton next week. That's how much we're forecasting here. We're getting the rounds mixed up. But I reckon there's going to be a defensive role between probably head to head between Dawson and Young, and then Sarong can just do his own thing. So Sarong, keep doing what you're doing, son. You're an absolute ripping Nick. You showed LDU how it's done last week in the Battle of the Gun Mids, and I'm looking forward to having you in my side. And now I'm loving the look of my midfield. Obviously, Tom Green's on the bye this week, but if I just simply put him on, and then Flanders is a midfielder, is a forward, so we'll move Flanders there and have Tom Green here. Now, all of a sudden, what I've got is a really cool midfield, which has some real big boys. Bont, Green, Butters, Sarong. Really happy with this quartet in my midfield. And I've got a bit of money left, 160K. What am I going to do with that money? Hopefully, now this might be a bit too premature, but I'm looking forward to hopefully adding another one. A fifth primo mid in my midfield is my hope and dream, and it's someone coming off the bye. I'll leave you with that. So hopefully you're salivating just a little bit over that. So that is my plan for the week. I've got Butters into English for sure. And then these guys are all on their buys. Everyone's on their buy. Sharp plays actually after Carroll, so we can have a look and see how Carroll does. If Carroll pops off, then we'll leave his score. And if he doesn't pop off, then we can put Sharp on. Now, you got to be careful in relation to that if you have both of them, because they both play on the Friday. I didn't actually notice it until a little bit, just a bit earlier, but they are both playing on the Friday right after each other. So you got to pay close attention to the scoring of how Carroll is doing. If he's doing well, then just leave it as is. If you're afraid of his score, you got to quickly sub Sharp on if you think he'll do better.
Yeah, definitely. And if you have a look at your team as well, like let's go through the spots. You've probably got 3 of the best defenders, or the guys who are going to be top 6. The midfield, you've definitely got 4 of the best of the top 6 or top 8. And then obviously best ruckman, most likely. Maybe throw in a Max Gorn later on. Obviously, Grundy's got his bye coming up. And then still got Flanders and Heaney. So there's like 2 of the best as well. So you're doing very well for yourself, Joe. There's going to be a lot of one-ups and downs to finish the team.
Yep. Obviously, we've gone 2 boosts in order to get to this point. And yet still improve the look of the team, the balance of the team, whilst also freeing up some cash in order to facilitate future moves. So I think both of us are in quite a decent position to attack the rest of the season. Yes, we've used some more trades than we otherwise might have liked, but hey, as we've said before multiple times, this is a trading game. It's not just about your starting team, how it works. It's how you work your way back into it. And we can really make up for it with these best 18 rounds.
Yeah, and you got to go hard early. That's what we found out last year. And if you don't, you're going to end up getting left behind. If you're the guy that, maybe holds a player for too long or misses out on an early price rise, you could be leaving yourself in the dust. And, the fans of the centre bounce, that's not what we're here for.
No, we don't want to leave anyone in the dust. And that's these are the 2 captaincy options that I've picked that I can hopefully leave other people eating my dust. Zach Butters as my VC into Tim English as my C. Butters is Port Adelaide are hosting Melbourne at home. And if we click on Butters, the last time he actually played against Melbourne, he had a wonderful outing and he scored 184 points. If you can see it here at Adelaide Oval, he went absolutely bananas. So it's he's elevated himself, and he went really well, 175. So he's in ripping hot form to start this season. He's got the hot hand. He went crazy last year against him in this same venue, and I'm willing to back in the young superstar to continue flourishing as he's doing. Plus, No Clayton Oliver, by the sounds of things, coming into
Mhm.
this week from reports. So that means that the midfield mix over there at Melbourne is even weaker. No Horn Francis, more midfield time for Zach Butters. I'm really keen. I missed him out. I missed out on his captaincy score last week. I'm not going to make that mistake. Rocking the VC with him. And then I've got my English as my captain.
Yep.
He's my English. Thank you very much. Up against West Coast at Marvel. Every ruckman under the sun, if I was playing ruck, I might score close to 100 if I'm playing against West Coast. And I've never played a competitive game of football outside of, lunchtime footy at school. And I could go close to 100 against West Coast. So Tim English is my man. And if we go
Yeah.
looking here at West Coast Eagles, you see an increase of 75% of points
Mhm.
against Ruckman, West Coast concede. So really,
Yeah.
really juicy for me. If you've got English, mate, go full send it.
What I think I'm going to do this week is obviously Butters, as you were saying, Joe, and then potentially could go the Bont versus West Coast. But I have a sneaky feeling that Heaney might do okay for me. Coming into his bye and done some decent scores the last couple of weeks. So if Butters doesn't work out some way, I might swing a Heaney, but we've still got some time. Obviously, one's Saturday and then one's on Sunday, so I can make a bit of a decision there.
Yeah, for sure. And looking at Richmond give up 60% more points to inside mids, and we know that
Heaney
Heaney's
with
playing on the ball.
60% more points, boy. He comes to 200. Tell you what.
Exactly. No, Heaney's an absolute very, very good shout playing in that midfield role. He's absolutely tearing it apart. What's Heaney average so far? He's on 136 average?
Yep.
Bloody hell.
136
136 average. Very impressive.
How about we go for the rest of the games?
Yeah. Brisbane v Collingwood. The teams are out for this, and Jared Lyons has been dropped. So yeah, if we've told you don't pick him, we've told you don't pick him for a reason, right? So Jared Lyons is out. Lockie Neal is in. I do think though that despite Nick Dacos having an absolute shocker last week, he really did. He's certainly capable of bouncing back really strongly. And I'm pretty sure when Nick Dacos played at the Gabba against Brisbane last year, he also, there you go. He went 151 last year at this venue in round 4. So for the people trading out Nick Dacos, beware.
Good luck to you. Maybe we'll do our tips for this time as well, Joe. So let's go through probably a captain option each for each game and then do our tips while we're here. So Nick Dacos, fine captain for that Brisbane game. I don't know if you'd pick a Dunkley or anything, but their ownership is too low. The only thing with Dacos is the last couple of weeks, I'm really hesitant with picking a vice captain in the first game. Maybe it's just heebie-jeebies, but Nick Dacos hasn't been the best captain or vice captain option in the first few games. Or I don't think anyone in the first game has been the best option either. So got to be really careful of those matchups. I picked the Lions at home to win that game. North of Melbourne versus Carlton, potentially if you've got an LDU, you could pick him, but Carlton's going to win pretty easily. North Melbourne's defense is not great. We head over to the Freo Adelaide game. I have picked Freo, to be honest. Freo at home. So very, very happy with that selection. If you've got a Sarong or a Luke Ryan, you could put him in there. I'm not really certain on any of the Adelaide Crows players, to be honest. I think there's a lot of guys around the mark. Maybe a Rory Laird if you want to go a bit different, but sometimes different doesn't work. Heading into the first game on the Saturday, I have actually picked. I think I picked Essendon to win this game. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But no 2 meter Peter for 4 weeks. I don't know how they're going to negate that. Would you pick Zach Merritt versus St Kilda, Joe?
Would they put Windhager on him?
Potentially. But the thing is with Windhager, he wasn't actually tagging Nick Dacos. You just had him around the ball. So Nick Dacos was in a bit of trouble by himself. Windhager was there, but it wasn't like Nick Dacos was getting pushed around at every stoppage and all that kind of stuff. So it might just be having Windhager there that's a bit of a problem. Can you really tag Zach Merritt, though? Zach Merritt's too good at this game.
He is. Yeah. He single-handedly tried to keep us in that last quarter.
Oh,
Just
mate, it was pretty good to watch.
inspirational stuff. Honestly, we don't deserve Zach Merritt. In all honesty, from the bottom of my heart, we don't deserve Zach Merritt. The guy is everything. All right,
So,
Port Adelaide,
yeah,
Melbourne.
we've talked
Obviously,
about
we've talked about Butters.
yeah, and about pick Port Adelaide. They're just too strong at home. I want a big game from Ollie Wines. Just to say, thanks Big J for selecting me. Heading on to the Sunday games, obviously Bulldogs versus Eagles. Joe's talked about English. Bont could definitely be a fix. I think like 60% of the competition already owns Bont. There is a little bit of a worry that Bont might not play because of his ankle. So we'll see what happens there. He didn't complete the full training, but, these things happen. Richmond versus Sydney. I picked Richmond. Sorry, I haven't picked Richmond. I picked Sydney. Richmond are no good at the moment. And I just think Heaney's going to smash them, to be honest. That's just my feeling. And then Hawks versus Geelong. I have picked Geelong. So I don't know if there's really a captain option you could pick. Maybe a Tom Stewart if you've got no one left. But surely by Monday, after like 8 games have already finished, that you've got a captain locked in already, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. No, I definitely agree with you. I've actually got the exact same tips as you.
Well,
I know I tipped the Bombers last week against the Swans, but that was when Darcy Parish was named also. Okay, so Darcy Parish was a late out, unfortunately. And
no Ben King this week was killed up.
But no Ben King, no Liam Henry. Liam Henry torched us in the practice game, and King was taking snaps from 60 meters out, riding the wind. I think those are 2 pretty big outs for the Saints. And we've been battered left and right in the media. Peter Wright does not have a single nasty bone in his entire body, and he has been absolutely pillaged. He is not a dirty player. He is a gentle giant. And for him to miss out on 4 weeks because he is going for a chest mark, he's leading up to the football. The kick was to him from a player, from a teammate of his. He's leading up to the ball and is intercepted by an opposition player who was courageous. Yes, that is courageous. But at the same time, courage is lauded because they know that there's going to be a collision. Because it's courageous because they're putting their safety out the window in order to win the football. For him to then be the subject of a collision is expected when he goes out of his way to put himself in Peter Wright's way. I'm very sorry for Peter 2-meter Peter. You are not a thug. You don't deserve to be suspended for 4 weeks. And anyone who thinks that he does, look at the footage again. Eyes on the football all the way through until he realized at the end. Maynard got away with it. Cripps got away with it. Everyone gets away with it. But poor 2-meter Peter, who was so remorseful, gets done. I'm sick and tired of this Essendon bias. Honestly, we're always pillaged left and right. It's unbelievable. Poor 2-meter Peter.
And that was Joe at the MRO show. Sorry, that was a bit of a segment that we weren't trying to put in on the show this week. But, Joe's gone crazy, and then that's what's happened.
We got to get it out there. We got to get it out there. We got to stand for 2-meter Peter. Justice is justice, all right? 2-meter Peter, I'm on your side through thick and thin. And I hope all of you guys are also with us through thick and thin. It is a long season. We hope you've enjoyed this video. It's had a bit of everything, but if you liked it, please drop us a like and a subscription if you're new. Would greatly help our growth.
Guys, it's week 3, or coming into week 3. As Joe says, a long season. Make sure you do your trades properly. Try and think through everything. We're going to have a break-evens video coming out after this, so stay tuned for that. We'll cover some of the players you should bring in, the ones you probably should get out of your team, and potentially some opportunities there. So let us know down in the comments. Who are you guys picking this week? Who are you guys bringing in? We'd love to see it.
Because, guys, here at the Centre Bounce, we do the hard work, so you don't have to.